Hi guys, and welcome to the Ace Tanker for the Leva, the Tier 8 German premium heavy tank. The Leva, it's a love or hate machine. I think the Leva has a very, very bad reputation. I think it's definitely one of the weaker Tier 8 premium tanks in the game, but yet you see a lot of people driving them, and a lot of people driving them badly. So the Leva, I think, gets a little bit of a bad reputation due to the fact that they are normally played by, let's just say, inexperienced players or players who aren't very strong, and as a result the tank doesn't get played to its strengths. The Germans are a nation that a lot of people tend to go up as their first nation in World of Tanks, and as a result they buy a Leva as their first Tier 8 premium tank, and they play a lot of games of the Leva, and it's very rare that you see good players playing Levas. You'll usually see them playing other Tier 8 premium tanks. Usually it's the weaker players you'll see driving a Leva, and yeah, there's a reason why you don't see very many good players playing the Leva, and that's because, as I say, it's a little bit underwhelming as a Tier 8 premium tank, and a lot of that's down to its armor. The biggest problem the Leva has is the fact it's a heavy tank that really doesn't have heavy tank armor. When we take a look here, the heaviest armor, the thickest armor on the Leva is 120 millimeters thick. That refers to mainly the front of the tank and the front of the turret, but again, it doesn't tell the whole story, because if you take a look at the lower glacis, you've only got 145 millimeters of effective armor. It's not angled particularly well, and as a result, lots of tanks it's going to be facing. Remember, this thing doesn't get special matchmaking. It will see Tier 9s, it will see Tier 10s. Even most Tier 8s have absolutely no problems penning your lower glacis. The upper glacis is okay if you're facing similar or lower tier tanks. The upper glacis can get to about 171. That's assuming they're shooting you straight on. If they're shooting down at you at any sort of angle or from an elevated position, again, you're straightening up the armor, and the effective frontal upper glacis is only about 130, 140 millimeters thick. So again, only effective if tanks are shooting you directly from the front and if you're facing lower tier tanks. There's also a strip of armor between the upper and lower glacis. You can see it here, it's quite flat. So this narrow little strip between the upper and lower glacis is very, very thin. So you go from 140 millimeters and 173 millimeters, but this area of effective armor on the front is only 120 if you can hit the flat area. So even lower tier tanks, no problems penning the front of a Leva if the Leva driver's sitting out in the open and letting you shoot his lower glacis or his hull. Most good Leva players are going to try and hide their hull if they can. The turret is not fantastic either. Again, you can see the front of the turret's 120 millimeters thick, and there are areas of the front of the turret that are very, very good. I mean, you can see 300 millimeters of effective armor to these sides here. You can see the gun mantlet gets up to about 800, 900 in places, but mainly it's about 300 millimeters of effective armor all around. But there is an area just to the left and right of the gun mantlet that's very, very weak. You can see it here. It's only, this strip here is only 150 millimeters of effective armor. Same on the other side, only about 150 millimeters of effective armor. You could shoot the cheeks on the turret as long as you avoid the gun mantlet and still pen a turret when it's hull down. And it gets worse for the Leva because these areas here to the sides, they're not great either. You would normally think because of the rounding, because of the angling, these would be auto-bound zones, but not really. You can see here 193 millimeters of effective armor, and there's an 85% chance of penning at this angle, shooting it straight on. Now, things get a little bit different because as soon as the turret starts to turn, suppose you turn the turret on the Leva, even a fraction, what you're doing is you're ending up reducing the effective armor of your turret even more. This gray or this yellow area here is only about 80 millimeters of effective armor, and when you're shooting the Leva from the front, if he turns his turret at all, you can pen the outside of his turret with absolutely no problems. It reduces down to about 150 millimeters, 100% chance of impact. So as soon as a Leva starts to turn its turret, you can avoid the front of the tank altogether and just shoot him at the sides. It reduces so much. It's so easy to pen a turret when you know what you're doing. I mean, as soon as you turn the turret this much, it reduces to 100 millimeters of thickness. So you could pen a turret or a Leva in the turret, you can pin it in the hull. The armor really isn't very good on a Leva. Now, experienced players will know this, and they will also know that the best way to play a Leva is to side scrape. So if you side scrape in a Leva, you've got 100 millimeters of effective armor along the side, and you can see just how effective this side armor is. Now, the side or underneath that side armor, it's only 80 millimeters thick. However, again, when a Leva is side scraping, you can see that 80 millimeters of effective armor is still very good. 445 millimeters, including tracks. Tracks are 40 millimeters of effective armor. They will absorb shots. They will absorb damage. So the Leva is a side scraping machine. It's a little bit like the KV-4 or maybe some of the heavier Soviet tanks. Very good for side scraping. Not so good when it exposes the front of the tank or the front of its turret. But as I say, this thing is a side-scraping beast. Now, I put up a video quite some time ago called Mr. Leva on the channel. It shows two very good players playing the Leva and playing it really well and side-scraping the way to victory. Two incredible Leva games. So I'll put a link to that on the video right now, just in case you haven't seen that. But that's just to see how good the Leva is at side-scraping and how good the armor is when you know what to do in a Leva. The replay I'm about to show you now, my first Ace Tanker, unfortunately, I don't get to show any side scraping because I sit out in the open for most of the game. But if you do want to see the armor on the Leva in action, check out the link that's on screen now. Now, in addition to having quite poor armor for a heavy tank, the Leva also has another couple of problems. Its traverse speed is very poor. Its turret traverse speed is very poor, but it's like that on a lot of German tanks. But in addition to having poor traverse speed, it also has a very poor engine. It's got an 800 horsepower engine pushing a very heavy tank, and even though on paper it gets a 35 km/h top speed, it is very rare you're actually going to reach that top speed unless you're traveling downhill. The tank is just very slow to get into position, and it's very sluggish. A Leva cut out in the open just doesn't have the speed, the mobility, or the turret traverse speed to be able to shoot its way out of trouble. However, the gun is okay. The DPM is lacking on the gun, however, but it gets a very nice gun for a premium tank. It gets 234 millimeters of penetration, 320 damage. Now that is very good. It means you don't have to fire a lot of premium ammo in this tank, even against tier 9s and tier 10s, which makes the Leva quite a good money maker. It's also quite a good crew trainer. Not perfect, but it's still quite good. So it's a good moneymaker, it's a good crew trainer, but it's not the strongest of tier 8 premium tanks. It gets a very bad rep, as I say, due to the fact a lot of inexperienced players drive the Leva. And the thing is, yes, it may not be a great heavy tank, the armor may not be there, but that doesn't mean you have to play it passively all the time. When you get a Leva into a tier 8 game as top tier heavy, you have to play as top tier heavy, regardless of whether or not the tank is capable of doing it. You've got a responsibility to your team. If you're top tier heavy and you retreat into the corner of the map and you snipe, then you're only hurting your team. You've got a responsibility. Even if you're not top tier heavy, I think the Leva is better as a support tank. Just because it's better at playing passively and sniping doesn't mean you have to snipe in every single game. In fact, you hurt the team by doing that. You can play it as a support tank, follow other heavy tanks, use them to tank the damage, poke out, take shots. It's got a very good gun. Anyway, we are here on Fjords. It is a tier 9 game, so it could be much worse. A very tier 9, tier 8 game, just realized. No tier 7s, no tier 6s, no light tanks. So yeah, it's a pretty good matchup for the Leva. I'm platooned with Ram, I'm platooned with CJC in this one. And as you can see, I don't play the Leva very often. The tank is moving very slow, very sluggish, down to the fact I don't think I've ever played the Leva with a good crew. My E100 has been, or my E100 crew, my mouse crew, my E75 crew, my VK2801, or VK420, whatever it is, that other tier 9 heavy tank. I'm brain dead at the moment. I've been doing a lot of recording. Those crews have all been through the Leva. At the moment, it's either a Tiger crew or it's a Tiger P crew in the tank. So not 100%, no 6th sense, but I don't think I've ever played the Leva with a good crew in it. But as I say, I put up a link earlier to a couple of games and Levas that people sent in that are amazing. But what you can see here is the aim time isn't great. The accuracy is quite good. It's a sniper. Now, 5100, no problems for the penetration on the Leva. There's no RT in this game. If you're wondering why I'm sitting out in the open, there's no RT. I can afford to do this. So I take a blind shot. Now, again, I was planning to move up to the rocks, but all of a sudden, no sixth sense, didn't realize I'd been spotted. AMX 5100 gets a little bit of revenge on me. So there are still tanks down here. I'm trying to go for the lower glacis. Let's check out this accuracy. Nope, he doesn't poke out. So while I had initially planned to go up to where the tortoise was, the tank was just a little bit too slow, a little bit too sluggish, and I had targets to shoot. And an E50 takes out our T28, and I'm kind of wondering how did our T28 get taken out so easily? E50 hasn't been spotted. T28 died there. Where is the E50? So still waiting for shots. A Yag Tiger has appeared ahead of me. And this is pretty much where I spend the entire game. Alright, so Foch, IS-3, Yag Tiger, all in the north ahead of us. I'm using my 8 degrees of gun depression. Forgot to mention this, the Leva's gun depression is quite good, it gets 8 degrees, but it's definitely not a frontline tank, especially in a tier 9 game. My plan is to use this wreck of the T28 to hide my lower glacis. Still looking to see if I can get shots. And we don't have much to shoot out of the Foch. Unfortunately I bounce, our tortoise has just gone down. So you can see me reversing, using this 8 degrees, and again I can afford to sit here because there's no RT. Just playing the tank to its strengths, trying to stay hull down, trying to use its gun depression. Foch is giving me a side, so I move up, but then the Yag Panther appears, not much to shoot at. Decide not to take the shot, but the Yag Panther fires, and the angle I'm at means he bounces. And now I've bounced an E50, and I know there's an E50 to the north, but he still has not been spotted. AMX is retreating, he's being pushed along the 1-2 lines, I was aware of that from the mini-map. These tanks are reversing into cover, I fall back to get shots, get one shot in, get another shot in. You see the rate of fire is not fantastic, forget what the rate of fire is, the replay doesn't show me. But even still, I don't have a 100% crew in here, so even if I did have the rate of fire, it wouldn't be accurate. So there's a Foch moving down, putting pressure on our T-54E1 and our Yag Tiger. Thought I had a hint of a shot. Oh, just he's behind a dip. So moving up, not much to shoot at, but we've got the side of a Foch. You can see 348 damage. Now I'm already up to 1300 damage, but we're being pushed and I'm falling back. Side of an IS-3, should be no problems, another 300 damage down there. So I'm trying to move into a nice side-scraping position. Yag Tiger 88, again another 352 damage done. The gun, it's just very, very good. You don't have to fire very much premium ammo at all. So I've fallen back, the enemy team are pushing us. E50, Yag Tiger, and a Foch, all three tier 9s to my right. But I'm pushing up. In hindsight, I probably could have gone for a track shot there on the Foch, but didn't. He's looking my way now. And there we go, even at an extreme angle, Foch was able to pen me to the front of the tank, but pop up, get another shot in. Another 300 plus damage. I think our Super Pershing's getting hammered, he's come around at a bad angle. See, JC's just gone down. Super Pershing's just gone down. Still 4 tanks up here, looking for shots. Can't seem to get them. But the Yag Panther's been taken out. Our team are pushing the Yag Tiger. That's to my left, so I decide maybe now is a good time to push up. They're about to be flanked by an M103. So pushing up, wondering if I can get any more shots. Had a hint of a Yag Tiger. Not much to aim at, but we take out the Yag Tiger for kill number 1. That takes me up to 2.7k damage. So yeah, I don't really get an opportunity to show off the armor here. This is all about the gun. As you can see, this is a gun that's very, very capable. E50 moves up, he's focused on the M103, so we've got side shots, side of the turret, get a little bit of revenge. Take him out for kill number 2. IS-3 down here gets taken out. Now we can move up on the Foch. Also 110 up here. Not getting an outline, they're behind rocks. Our M103 is on pretty low health. Want to try and help him if I can. Again, trying to get outlines, not much to shoot at. And okay, Foch gets taken out. Just the 110 left. And we take him out for kill number 3. So just 2 tanks left on the enemy team. They were last spotted going down the 0 line. So again, you can see how slow this tank is, how sluggish it is just to turn around. We're on 3k damage, shooting down at a 112, managed to track him I believe. And there we go, he's shooting up at my upper glacis and he fails to pin with 175mm. Miss out on the opportunity of doing more damage. Now this was a little bit of education for me because I didn't actually realize I had shots on the Waffentrager here. I didn't realize you could actually shoot over the rocks till he actually put a shot into me. I was like, whoa, you can shoot over the rocks from that position? So we get a little bit more damage done. Looking for the kill, he's sitting there. And we take him out, so just the 112 left. Very, very easy game. Didn't really get to show off the Löwe to its best there, but did get to show off the gun. So yeah, my first ace tanker in the Leva. This tank has 2 main strengths. It has a very, very good gun, which I got to show off, and it's very, very good at side scraping, which I didn't get to show off in that game. But as I say, if you were to check out the link to the earlier video I posted, then you'll get to see some very, very good side scraping action in Levas. Quite surprised it took me so long to get an ace tanker in this tank, but this was primarily used as a crew trainer. Never ever had a good crew in this tank. Still don't have a good crew in this tank, and I guess I just played it whenever I wanted to get doubles. It's not a tank I actually sat down to play game after game after game. I've never grinded the Leva for any reason. It got played when I remembered to play it for its daily double. And yep, to be honest, I kind of forgot I'd never even gotten an ace in it up till now. But yeah, it's done. It's dusted. We finished top on XP with 1279, which is okay, I suppose. 3,752 damage. Again, didn't do the most damage on my team, but tier 8, tier 9 game. Nice matchup. This Leva will see tier 10s. 4 kills and fired 16, hit 15, penned 14. The gun is very, very good on the Leva. DPM, not fantastic, but it is a very, very good gun. I received, or I spotted 1, damaged 8, destroyed 4, did no assistance damage. I was really playing as support, wasn't on the front line, letting other tanks do all the spotting. Finished up making 88,000 credits with a premium account, so it's a good moneymaker, it's a good crew trainer, but it's not a very, very strong tank. 1918 XP on a ×2 first game of the day, left me on 4,000 XP. Yeah, Leva, you see a lot of players playing it incorrectly, you see a lot of players reckon it's not a very good heavy tank, so that gives them the excuse to go and sit in the corner of the map, or sit and spawn and snipe from spawn, and that's one way you can play the Leva, but it's not going to help your stats, it's not going to help you become a better player. Forget about it being a sniper, play it more as a support tank, play it more like on the front line. If you're top tier heavy, you've got no choice. You got to play it like a heavy anyway. If you're not top tier heavy, stick with your heavy tanks or stick near your heavy tanks. Use them to take the damage, and you just poke out and take shots and contribute whenever you can. But Leva, I don't hate the tank, but I definitely don't think it's one of the stronger tier 8 premiums. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.